Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. So let's kick off the final episode of the IATA Digital Cargo webinar series. So this is the 6th edition and focusing on the One Record Hackathon. I'm your host today, Anna Lambert, One Record Engagement Manager. And before we start, I have a few administrative items to take care of. So first of all, I'd like to thank all of our sponsors. So we have IBS Software, PayCargo, and Riga Software. Without them, none of this, the webinars and the hackathon would be possible. As it's an IATA hosted event, we have a few competition law guidelines. In hindsight, because we can't speak with all of you, there is no need to discuss, but we'd like you to be mindful of discussions on pricing and fares, commissions and everything, and no group boycotts, please. So to participate in this meeting, you can only hear us, as in the presenters. All of your microphones are disabled. You can unmute them, it won't make a difference, unfortunately. The way to interact with us is on the right-hand side, you have a question box. So you have the live event Q&A, and you can type in all those questions, and we will address them at the end of the session. So simply just type in your question, and then we'll read them and then have them answered for you. As well, this meeting is recorded for future use. So if you need to leave the session or come back at any point, or you want to watch it with the family tonight as a Netflix, then you're more than welcome. And you can just hit the same link they used to join this event, and then you'll see the recording. Okay, so now let's have a look at the agenda for today. So it's a 5-part session. So we'll first start off with an introduction to what is a hackathon, which I will take care of. Second part, we will focus on hackathons, the shortest way of running to a running solution. This will be done by our hackathon sponsor, Riga Software, and Christian Riga will address. Following on, we will have 2 live demos from the winners of the One Record Prize and the Technical Prize. So you'll see exactly how they built it and what they achieved. And then finally, if we can get our final speaker to join, we will have innovation on One Record, focusing on payment with Doug Schmidt, who is the Chief Technical and Information Officer of PayCargo. And then we'll address your questions at the end. Okay, so let's get going. So first part is all about the hackathon. I'm presenting it, but it's a whole team effort. And as you can see on the picture, that's our team during the hackathon with Henk, our boss, Andrea, Christoph, Isaac, David, and myself. So I have the pleasure of presenting on their behalf what is a hackathon, but it's a team effort. Right, so just to give you a quick flavor in the beginning, we're going to give you a video. So sit back, relax, get the popcorn, and let's go.
I hope to see a lot of exciting applications and novel ideas. I think the hackathons are really good for exposing ideas that if you're in the industry, you don't. It's so obvious that when you're in the industry, you don't see it. You don't see the forest because of the trees. And then if you get an outside perspective, then you get something which you say, oh, of course. And I really hope to see something like that coming up.
Well, it means a lot to me. I'm following the whole industry now for a couple of years, following One Record. It's also part of my job, actually to do that, and it will be a lot of fun to also see this now flying, and also to be a judge in there. It obviously means a lot to me, because it also shows the dedication that I'm giving, and but also that my company is giving, and hence I'm really looking forward to the next days.
It's actually a privilege. Gives us an opportunity to see for future state what is possible, what's possible with one record, and what's possible from an airline perspective in terms of what we can offer for visibility with regards to their shipments. So the hackathon is an opportunity to showcase what we can do, as well as an opportunity to meet other participants from around the world and see what they're offering for their projects for the hackathon.
These kind of events can be really fun. They can be really stressful, but I think those two elements, when they come together, they can often create something really unique in the space, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I can't wait to see what these guys come up with. In the last 24 hours, these events really usually kind of create a lot of excitement, a lot of good, healthy tension, and it's always great to see what comes out on the other side. So good luck to the teams out there. I can't wait to see what you've made.
The global pandemic shut down countries and borders overnight, and in the same time frame, we've proven that as a society and as an industry, we can, if needed, very quickly adapt, even in isolation. Suddenly, we in large numbers started to use existing technology to meet, collaborate, and at least in my opinion, and despite being in isolation, feel more connected than ever before. I think we all realize that change can happen fast. At the same time, reducing contact points has never been more important, and I hope that one of the positive outcomes of this global pandemic is that it gives us the push we need, along with the motivation to keep the momentum going. The year-over-year increased level of participation in this hackathon is a shining indicator that we're on the right track.
Organizing IATA's first fully online digital hackathon was a challenge in itself, but also very rewarding. It allowed us to have true global participation, comprising of over 176 participants from 33 unique nationalities, united by a common goal to design and develop solutions based on the One Record API within 28 hours. Hosting this event online, we realized that time zone differences actually doesn't stop creativity, and teams that had no cargo experience were actually able to contribute just as much. The biggest challenge was getting the 8 judges to judge all the solutions, taking over 3 hours. But most importantly, the challenges didn't stop the fun.
It was a lot of fun preparing this with you. Won't go over the whole story about how the where is it? Where's the camera here? Won't go over the story how the containers actually made it to Geneva and the T-shirts for how they didn't. But anyway, we're lucky we got them, and Christian doesn't.
All right, so that was a quick snippet of what happened during the event. A quick fun note was that so we did this together with Isaac, film production, and it was actually a challenge to do an interview of all of these people, because they were all around the world, from Germany to Canada to the US. So yeah, it was fun. All right, so let's move on. So I just wanted to talk about what actually makes a hackathon successful. And a lot of people think, well, it's just the organization and that's it. And actually, it's far from the truth. Actually, the organization is only one little block, but it's the cement that brings the sponsors, the API providers, and the participants together. And you need all of these to be able to make it fun. If you don't have it, if you're missing one, then the whole event doesn't work. But the good thing is when you mix it all together, you get lots of fun and creativity. So let's look at the first building block. This hackathon, which was our third one, we've done 2 previously, one in Geneva in 2018. We did Madrid last year, and now online, let's say this year. It was very unique because it was IATA's first online hackathon. And we're actually very surprised on the statistics. And here you can see we had 176 participants, 33 unique nationalities, and they literally came from all four corners of the world, from Peru to Australia. And yeah, it was actually quite surprising to see that nearly half of them actually came from the Asia Pacific region. We were very surprised, and maybe it's a hint for our next hackathon to move towards Asia Pac. So let's see. So that's one building block. The next one is our sponsor. And honestly, without them, and here we have Riga Software that sponsored this year's edition, it wouldn't have been possible. Only thanks to their kind financial participation were we able to put the prize money for the participants to be recognized. And new this year, we also had another sponsor that sponsored a particular challenge, because they were like, well, we see the value in all of this one record, but we actually want to add a different flavor to the whole thing, and we want to look at payments, and that got our head scratching. So we actually did a specific challenge that had its own prize. So thank you very much to PayCargo for making all of this possible. This year, we actually had 4 APIs, and what we're trying to do was to get the challenges to try and connect to them and see how people can share data and how easy it is for people. So we got track and tracing from Lufthansa, Air France KLM, and Qatar. And no, it was good to see the different solutions out there. And once you have all of this mix, then you need some challenges. So initially, we looked at, and we like to give a choice on doing 2 different challenges so that it's a bit open for people to join. And as well, we tried not to make it too specific, because we realized if we make the challenges too specific, then we lose the creativity, which is actually what we're looking for. And then this goes back to Christian's comment in the video that you know, if you're so much in the woods, you see the trees, but you don't see the forest, right? So you don't want to limit this creativity. So we did 2 simple ones, track and trace and quote and book. And then ultimately, we're looking at it and going, yeah, this is interesting, but let's broaden the scope. So we actually created more challenges. And bear in mind that this is completely voluntary, so people choose whichever one. The prizes aren't, except for the PayCargo challenge, the prizes weren't linked to the specific challenge, so anybody could win them. And we actually decided on the 4th category at the last minute, which was an open challenge, to say maybe there's people out there that really have a specific solution that really is crazy, but let's make it work. So, and that doesn't fit in the other categories. So we did that, and it was good. To go with the challenges, we then must have some rewards. So this is actually the biggest payout we've done this in all the hackathons so far, where we did 3 prizes of $2,000 each, which usually would help for the developers to fly to our location and to pay for their expenses while being here. But now that it was all online, I heard that one team is actually going to have a really good dinner somewhere. So they're using the money very wisely. So yeah. So we don't just do financial rewards. We've actually started with the runners-up. We did what we're calling the innovation engine, and there's more information that's going to come. But basically what we're doing is we're trying to do some interactions and coaching or mentoring, if you will, between IATA and these teams to see how we can take their project to the next level. Basically, it's a good start, and you got to bear in mind they only had 28 hours of coding, so it's short. We don't expect perfect solutions, but now this is the time where people can actually sit down, talk to the experts, and see how we can take it even better. With that, we need as well expert jury members to actually judge this, and we were lucky that we actually had 8 judges, because so as I said, it was 176 participants. We ultimately, that created 22 different teams, and before we knew it, we had 17 submissions that were sent to us. And if you bear in mind that each team had 5-minute videos and a document to submit, and all need to be reviewed, it equates to about 3 hours of judging. So on a Sunday morning or even evening, because we had Ko Hui Kim from CCN Singapore, who was staying up until midnight to judge all of the ideas before going to bed. So it was a mammoth task, but we couldn't do it without them as well. So just to give you a quick number, each team at the beginning of the hackathon had 1 minute to pitch their initial idea, which is basically to give an idea of which challenge they're going to address and what are they going to build. Does it meet the challenge? Will it be able to solve the issue? Or do they have any problems? This is just to give a rough idea. After that, they start their 28 hours of coding. And at the end of the 28 hours, they have to do a final presentation, which was a video of 5 minutes and this document, and present that to the 8 jury members. So it's not just work. We also have a little bit of fun. So we organized a social media competition with hashtags. So if you go on LinkedIn and follow those hashtags, you'll see quite a lot of activity. And yes, that's Henk the boss with me eating an ice cream on a beanbag whilst waiting for the submissions. So we had a lot of creative submissions. And as well, it's about learning. And it's not just us waiting on the solutions to be built and us to have a look at it. It's also us as in IATA giving back to the industry. So we actually organized 2 workshops. The initial plan was to actually only do what we would call a technical workshop, which is on the One Record API, where people, if they have questions or some issues, they can speak directly to our experts. But because it was an online hackathon, we actually got a lot of requests from non-cargo people about how does this actually work. So we came up with the idea of doing basically a cargo basics workshop, which is a condensed version of one of the IATA training courses that we do for people wanting to learn about cargo. And so it's a free takeaway for all of them. And I'm sure you're wanting to know, where can I see all of these results? Where can I find more information? And all of the submissions are still available. You can still have a look at them. They're stored on onerecord.devpost.com. You can have a look. You can see what the rules were, what they had to come up with, and all their submissions, and who the winners were. And of course, we have to thank Riga Software and PayCargo for making all of this happen. And later on, we'll have 2 live demos from 2 of the winners, so stay tuned. And with that, I would like to pass on to Christian Riga from Riga Software, who will talk to us about hackathons, the shortest way to running solutions.
Thank you, Arno. So now it's my time to share my screen, right?
Correct.
Somebody else started. Let's try it again. Everybody sees the presentation?
Yes. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Arno. Sometimes this, whoops. Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks, Arno. It's despite this now being 6 months, I'm still permanently on mute while talking. And as you see, this is also not really working out yet. I already made some notes. I need a teleprompter setup. I need a green screen, so nobody has to see my fridge all the time, which will make my son very happy, as he will get a proper streaming setup for YouTube. After being a judge on the panel and watching 3 hours of YouTube on a Sunday afternoon, I can also never tell my son again that he's watching too much YouTube. Okay, but hello everybody. It's strange talking into an empty kitchen. The digital cargo. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. And thank you to IATA for the opportunity to be a judge of the 2021 Record Hackathon. It was an honor to participate in the jury, and especially in these challenging times that we go through. It was different, but it was definitely fun. And So what are hackathons about? Arnaud already explained some things, and hackathons provide an open space for anyone interested in offering a solution to the topic. Hackathons are very inclusive. And the positive thing about this edition of the hackathon was it allowed participation from around the globe, even for people with small travel budgets, people who might have problems getting a visa or something like that. So let's look at some of the other aspects of this open space, this greenfield approach to projects. First of all, what we get as an industry is we get input from potential outsiders. You can participate in the hackathon with little or no touch points with the industry. I thought it was a brilliant idea by IATA, by the organizers, to put up a little, this is cargo basics on Saturday afternoon. And that was really worthwhile watching, and it provided a lot of good input, I think, to some of the participants. And as Arnaud already mentions, it's interesting, it's inspiring to get the perspective from outsiders, because if you're sitting inside, it's some of the problems you don't really see, because it's always like this. And if you come from the outside, as Arnaud said, it's one of my favorite phrases, it's you can't see the forest, or if you're inside, you can't see the forest for all the trees. It's also daring to take part in a hackathon, but you shouldn't be scared. And some of the scares, what you have in operational day-to-day, or if you're at work, are just not there. You don't depend on your superiors. You don't have to have anybody sign off on your project. It's you that gets to sign off. It's you to decide. There's also no pressure putting on you from the outside. It's just you and your team who decide upfront, okay, this is what we are going to do. This is what we are going to present. And you also must not may not be afraid of reprisals. So nobody will say that was bad, I didn't like this. It's just your own opinion. There is serious of the 17 projects or so that we thought, everything was worthwhile and interesting in their own way. Also, the hackathon allows you to be free in what you want to do. There's nobody telling you this is not possible. I don't believe in this project. Or the worst, we have always done it in this way. You are the one that says yes or no, not somebody else. It also forces you to focus, to get the results in very little time. You saw the participants had 28 hours to get this, to get everything done. And so you have to do it in this time, and there's not more. Sunday, 3 o'clock Geneva time, deadline. There was no extension. You couldn't go to somebody. Also, you had to get it done by then or be out, and every team managed to do that. So you don't have to go to, you have a fixed slot, and you don't have restrictions put up from your work environment regarding, oh, I can't get, this is not in our budget, we can't allocate any time for this, there's too much other work. Daily business usually always eats up whatever time you give it. So this is a great thing to do, something that you don't need to allocate anything with your superiors or within your company. The hackathon, as I already said, the short timeline demands an immense focus. And this focus, this deadline, enforces a working discipline. You have to concentrate on one issue. You have to concentrate on the presentation of exactly one result. It is you to say, this is what we do, and this is what we don't do. And of course, with every project, with every endeavor you do, there's risk. And the risk is just failing to hit the point. But you might fail, but there are little consequences. And of course, with risk, there's also opportunities. And I think the hackathon has a lot more opportunities than the potential risk, which is low. The opportunities are basically learnings for future engagements. You get to know new people. You get to know new industries. And when this is an in-person event, even in the virtual space this is possible, but in person it's even better. You get to make new friends because the other teams are not your enemies. You shouldn't look at them as enemies, but you should really be there to make new friends, to see, oh, because they have good ideas. They have really good ideas. You're not the only one. And it's super interesting sometimes to see these other ideas and then think, if we combine my idea and that idea, we might really have something that works. So again, from the discipline, you have to focus, focus, focus. There's no room for vague models. You can't go in and say, well, I think we will do this. You have to go in and say, this is the thing, and this is what we are going to do. You can't be sidetracked. You can't say, let's try this. Also, it's 28 hours. Get it done or don't do it. What we gain, what we gain as a jury, what other people who look at the project afterwards gain, what also you yourself gain, is you gain insights. We see 17 projects and we see new angle, we see new views on existing problems, we get new perspectives. We see, oh, yes, this is really a problem, or this is really an area where we can improve. We can compare the solutions. We can say, this one, if we really have something, and we get to redefine rankings and priorities internally. So with this, I want to conclude. Thank you with a nice picture of the organizers and the staffers at IATA. First and foremost, I want to thank Andra for having made the One Record toolkit, which is open source and available on GitHub. That's really a very, very nice resource. I want to thank Lower Row, Christoph, Isaac, and David, Arnaud for being the engagement officer, for keeping track of everyone, for calling, for emailing, for everything. And last but not least, of course, Hank, who sits there and watches, and I think he really enjoys what he's doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christian, for this good slide and information, and thanks for the comments. So now let's move on to the live demos. So we actually have two. So first of all, we'd like to go to Air Jarvis, who won the overall One Record prize. So I think, Fred, over to you. You want to share your screen? Fred? Fred, we can't hear you. Need to unmute. Okay, I think we're having some technical issues here. Brooke?
Hi there. Yes, I can start, but Fred has the presentation. So I will.
I have the presentation as well.
Perfect. Yeah, if you can, that would be great.
Tell me which slide.
So I'm hoping that Fred maybe could get his mic working in time for me to stall long enough. But if not, I will keep talking. Okay. So what we'll do is we planned on talking about the sort of biz. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Sorry to cut you off there. Okay. What I was hoping to do is just share my screen here. And just let me know when you can see my screen. How does that look?
Looks beautiful.
Okay, you can see the presentation now?
Yep.
No.
Okay.
I can't see it.
Can anybody else? Brooke, are you seeing the main presentation?
Try one more time.
I could see it, yeah.
Okay. You're seeing my note?
Sure.
Okay, maybe I'll get I'll get you to share your screen. I'll get the host to share their screen, and then we'll like. Excellent, thanks. That's perfect. So hello from the Pacific West Coast. My name is Fred Opongajeri, and I'm here with our Hackathon team to discuss our project, which was Air Jarvis. So what does Air Jarvis stand for? Well, it's a Java-based automated rebooking visual integrated system. And basically, it's just a fancy way of saying it's a digital assistant to help you to plan cargo. On to the next slide. Thanks. So our team consists of developers and a digital business team that spans across different talents. And that includes business logic, application behavior, front-end design, AI modeling, and API integration. In this instance, the API we used specifically was OneRecord. In addition to this year, our team is in North America and in Europe. So it was truly an international effort in putting this all together, and it was a bit challenging, but it did work. So as a hackathon, it was possibly an experiment in development via video collaboration and possibly sleep deprivation as well. We'll go on to our next slide. Perfect, thanks. So we're going to talk about cargo planning. So as a planner, you plan on a flight-to-flight basis, and this requires you to be as accurate as possible with your estimates and your flight finals. Many people are depending on this information. So you perform your entries, you enter them into a planning system, and this information affects multiple departments. This requires coordination between yourself, your department, and the other departments that you're interacting with. And you need to maintain communication and advise of changes in real time. And we know that space on an aircraft is perishable, so what we need to do is maximize it whenever possible and make sure this is all done again accurately because the clock is ticking. Go to our next slide. Perfect, thanks. So there are challenges along the way while you're doing your flight planning function. So you need to be decisive, and you're going to face some challenges along the way. Is there a chance that your freight might be bumped? You might have to take into consideration weather information at downline stations, because if you're shipping commodities such as live animals, that will be affected. You have to maintain those channels of communication between airports. Maybe you have someone in operation control. Maybe you have to get in touch with the load agent at the weight and balance department. Maybe you have to give an advisory to the cargo runners. You might have to reach out to some customers who have promised to tender freight to you. And then you also, on top of all of this, you got to track the incoming cargo that might be making a connection, because you want to avoid any misconnections. So we'll talk about our solution next. Perfect. So thanks to OneRecord, we can coordinate all these different moving parts in this fragmented ecosystem and this song and dance of cargo and business operations using historical information and real-time information in one simple solution. We can track the incoming flights. We can look at the booking behavior and history. We can also anticipate delays using the OneRecord solution, which is awesome. And all this information is centralized in our interface, and it communicates with anybody who's subscribed to the OneRecord service. And all this heavy lifting is done for you, allowing you to have a high-level overview of your flight and plan effectively, and possibly maintain your sanity as well. Go to our next slide. Excellent. So that's a high-level look at what we worked on during the hackathon, our Air Jarvis project. I'll pass it over to Brooke, who will demonstrate how this all works. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. So my name is Brooke, and I represent the eCargo team that was involved in the concept and development of this tool. In the world of cargo logistics, shippers expect tracking information to be transparent and up to date. So this is especially true when a shipment doesn't travel as planned. So the customer is frustrated. They want to know, where is my shipment? Why is it delayed? Why is it canceled? And from the customer success management point of view, or the support, they also need to know that information as well. So airlines are tasked with managing information based on what they have available to them, or their best available knowledge. Now, in some cases, when they're trying to find the solution to the problem that has occurred, it means sifting through information, trying to understand the narrative. And this can translate into uncomfortable situations or conversations, both with the customer or an internal situation. So what are we solving? Well, Air Jarvis aims to solve the struggles of a rebooking problem. It also provides us the visibility of shipment information in an easy to follow dashboard. So let's just take a look at the actual system itself, and I'm going to present my screen. And we'll go to a working model of this in action. Go to Air Jarvis. And now, as we see as an example here, we have widgets that display us weather delays, flight cancellations, no-show bookings, and these can all be helpful in those internal situations where we want to find out answers or information for us to make a decision on. We use historical flight information. We have live tracking of our flights. We analyze weather conditions, review booking behavior, and display this to take action on this reliable information that we've gathered. Let's just talk a little bit about the insights that Air Jarvis can provide. So when we view flight cancellations, for example, we see the system compiles, analyzes, and graphs data from the OneRecord API and supplies this information for a given period of time. This results and provides the customer success manager with decision-making insights. Now, you're probably going to say, insights are good, but let's take a look at the powerful tasks that OneRecord can do. So we'll go back to the dashboard. So for example, Air Jarvis can conduct automated actions based on predefined delay thresholds. We're just going to switch to a table view, pull in that OneRecord information. Now, as we can see, Air Jarvis gives us these predefined thresholds or advises a success manager to take action based on the thresholds set by the airline. In our case here, a flight AC116, the flight was canceled. Air Jarvis automatically took care of the rebooking. In AC122, we've set that there's a 64% chance the flight may be delayed, or Air Jarvis has determined that, and we've set the thresholds in this internal situation for us to take action to rebook at a certain percentage. Now, in this case, let's just kind of take a look into AC122 a little bit more. We have the option to rebook. We can rebook the entire flight or just the AWBs individually. We're going to rebook the entire flight. We select the AWBs we want to take action on, and then click continue. So this is the power here. Air Jarvis presents us with a list of flights with the available capacity that will allow my cargo to safely connect with enough time. We just simply have to select the best flight that we want to move these AWBs to. We click rebook, and then it's done. Air Jarvis takes care of the rest. Now, what exactly happened here? Well, instead of all of those nasty phone calls and communications in a manual way, the customers were automatically notified via whatever subscription method they have, email, SMS, perhaps a WhatsApp integration. The weight and balance departments and all the OneRecord subscribers also received an automatic update of the flight change. Any interline carriers were also advised of the change. So I'm sure you've all seen that movie Minority Report. This is basically that for cargo. Before a problem might happen, this system took corrective action and made the change, or helped us make the change. So in summary, this platform integrates with your internal operations, removes the manual rebooking component, and also provides us with other benefits such as the visual aids, the insights, and the live tracking integrations. The system can scale as well, providing us role-based information and actions, helping out the entire internal team, and it can really grow with your needs as an internal scheduling, booking, and handling tool that works on a clean front-end interface, doing some heavy lifting in the back end for you. So to talk a little bit more about the heavy lifting, let's now introduce my colleague Alexei from eCargo, and he's going to speak to the AI systems overview.
All right. Hi, my name is Alexei. Okay, now I'm unmuted. So, hi, my name is Alexei, and I'll share my screen for the next couple of slides. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so artificial intelligence and machine learning are a big part of Air Jarvis that help to transform it into a decision-making system, essentially. Overall, AI and ML are the types of technologies that will play an important role in how airlines, in how airlines translate, massive amounts of data they have or have access to into the actions that will drive improvement in operational efficiency. There are several types of algorithms and models used in Air Jarvis. This includes forecasting models, and the forecasting models have been used for predicting flight and shipment delays based on historical and live GPS flight information, weather data obtained through APIs, and the booking status data from One Record. So One Record is awesome here because it allows us the opportunity to unify data access so that in future our application could be easily plugged in into customer data. We also use segmentation and prioritization models. They're used to identify shipment issues that can be resolved automatically versus the ones that should be presented to airline agents, as well as classification and priority levels of those shipments. And we also used optimization models to determine the best possible flight for shipment rebooking based on the parameters set by airline. Air Jarvis, if the initial the versions that we built is using neural networks and to a lesser extent matrix factorization modeling. And now automation. So automation basically means that machines are replicating human tasks. The machine learning provides us with the ability to make better sense of the data, but it in turn triggers the opportunity for automation of corrective actions. In case there are any deviations or delays, to lessen the load on airline employees. During the hackathon, we focused on automating and assisting agents with fairly basic flight rebooking scenarios, where straightforward cases are rebooked automatically, and when in doubt, the system would suggest flights, and present them to the agent. Both the application and the models can be expanded to support resolving additional types of events, to automate additional types of actions. If the system is used in real-time situation, then we can use self-learning algorithms that we can add to constantly improve accuracy, improve precision, and the scope of what Air Jarvis is capable of. Overall, this will help to save time, improve customer satisfaction, and allow workers to focus on higher priority, initiatives than, with the help of machine learning. And that's all about this portion.
Thank you very much, Alexei. So on behalf of the Air Jarvis team, we'd like to thank you for allowing us the time to present our solution. If you'd like to learn more, you can contact us at ecargo.io.
Thank you very much. So with that, I would for the first live demo of the solution and the winners of the One Record Prize. And now I'd like to invite the French team, One Track Project, who were the winners of the technical prize. So, Thomas, over to you.
Yeah, just let me share my screen. This one. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so I let Benjamin start the presentation and we'll see.
Yes, bonjour, hello everybody. Welcome to our demo. So we are the French team. We are composed of 6 members. We are all digital rock stars, and we are working either on IT or also in freight operations. And we propose to take the challenge number 1, which was related to the track and trace ideation. This is the team.
Maybe we could just introduce ourselves first. I don't know if Bilal is on the call.
I don't think so.
So let's introduce Bilal, who is a cargo expert working for Air France KLM. I let Alexis introduce himself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so hi everyone. So my name is Alexis. I was part of the One Track, the French team for the One Track Hackathon. So I'm a software engineer and I'm working mainly with Alexandre and Thomas. So I'm a full stack engineer and partially a DevOps engineer too.
Yeah. Alexandre?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. I'm Alexandre and I'm a full stack engineer as well. And as Alexis just said, I'm working mainly with Thomas and Alexis also. So yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Alexandre. Let's see who is Florian now.
So hello, I'm Florian. I'm also a full stack engineer and a DevOps engineer, and also a technical leader on everything that is web technologies and also front end and back end.
Yeah, myself. My name is Thomas Moreau. I'm working as a software architect for a small software company with Alexis and Alexandre. And I used to work during the last 2 years for Air France KLM on One Record Problematics. And finally,
finally myself, Benjamin Rosenberg. So I'm working with within Air France KLM, and I'm currently an operation manager. And I used to be a project manager before, and I used to work on the One Record project within IATA.
Yeah, we really had all very complementary skills, and everybody was indispensable for the hackathon, and so we really wanted to introduce everyone. So let's get back to the presentation.
Yes. So our statement was that today there is no possibility for a customer to track and trace precisely a single piece unit from the beginning, so from the manufacturing plant towards its final destination, and this using only one tool. That's the issue. So what we found out, what we propose our solution is One Track. So it's the most accurate and complete end-to-end tracking solution. It's including real-time and history of all relevant tracking informations, depending on the nature of the goods. Yes. That's for you, Thomas.
So, yeah. So about our business features and technical challenges we wanted to address. Of course, at first we wanted to use One Record data model and APIs with as relevant data as possible. So we spent a lot of time to build huge data sets to be able to simulate almost accurate data. Then we wanted to have a distributed solution with multiple One Record servers, just like it would be in real life with One Record. We also wanted to enrich the data we had with Run Record with some other data like open route APIs, Flight Radar or Open Weather to get live weather and be able to correlate some more data about what is happening for our shipment. We wanted to build some kind of monitoring solution and especially monitor things like temperature. That is a very important metric for pharmaceuticals, for example. And we wanted to display real-time information and to be able to see the whole history and track everything that could have happened during the transportation. And for that, we wanted data coming from ULD sensors like IoT devices. So we wanted to monitor metrics, but in real time, and to get alerts when something bad has happened or some new event has raised. And we also wanted to be able to stay informed about what is currently happening for the shipment we are involved to. We also wanted to build different views depending on the different actors, and so to display appropriate data for different actors like shippers, forwarders, airlines, etc. And of course, we wanted also to have a user-friendly solution, allowing us to visualize, track, and troubleshoot everything that could have happened. Technically speaking, we decided to deploy 3 different One Record servers. The first one dedicated to shippers and consignees. So we would have like companies like Sanofi, Terherd, Lotus Poultry, or CVS Pharma. Another One Record server is dedicated to forwarders like Bolloré or DB Schenker in our demo. And the last and third One Record server is dedicated to airlines like Air France, KLM, or Lufthansa. On top of this, we have, of course, our OneTrack server that is acting like a One Record client according to the One Record specification. And our server is able to fetch the data from all the One Record server thanks to their common APIs and data models, so we can speak the same language with any of them. In addition to these servers, as I said before, we decided to plug other APIs like Flight Radar, Open Weather, or Open Route to get some even more data and be able to make some correlation inside our application. Our application is a web application based on React.js and other libraries, and it can be displayed, of course, in a web browser. For the demo, we decided to build and to simulate data of metrics monitored on ULDs thanks to IoT devices. I don't know if you attended the last presentation, the previous webinar. We had Liam Forde from Ericsson presenting the new things coming for IoT devices that could be included in ULDs and plugged to One Record. So it is coming soon, but not yet available. So our sensors will send latitude, longitude, temperature, and hygrometry of the pieces that are included in our ULDs. And so these metrics will be sent to a One Record server, and our application will subscribe to any update of these metrics and receive in real time the data that could be at the end displayed, of course, in your web browser. So before the demo, I let Benjamin present the business cases we built together and we showed during the hackathon.
Yes, so we have 2 use cases that we decided to fetch for using the OneTrack. The first one is regarding a vaccine manufacturer. It's on the actuality with the COVID and all stuff related. So our manufacturer wants to track and monitor an urgent and sensitive vaccine shipment and make sure that they are kept at the right temperature all along the journey from the factory in Normandy in France till the customer warehouse in New York, States in the USA. So as you know, the vaccine are really sensitive to temperature. We need a special range, and the customer is really looking to have the vaccine kept into this range all along, in the truck, in the warehouse, in the plane. So that's very sensitive. The second use case is about live chicks. We have a customer. He owns a chick hatchery in the Netherlands, and he has it's not a customer, it's a provider, and he has a customer in Egypt who ordered a shipment of one-day chicks. We all know that chicks are very sensitive, these little cute things, especially to temperature. When we send them during summer when it's very hot, during winter when it's snowing or raining, they can die basically. So we need to make sure also to monitor the temperature and be sure that they don't stay quite long under the sun or under the snow. And also they must fly as booked, because otherwise they can die. So let's see what we can do with one track.
Yeah, so I will leave this presentation and simply open onerecord.fr. So one record from the French team, of course. When you load the application, you first have a login screen where you can choose to log as a shipper, an airline, or a guest. Let's log in as a shipper. And here you can see the list of the airway bills you have with alerts, like a synthetic dashboard, and the airway bill numbers that you have in your list. On the right of this item, you can see that we have a QR code icon here. This is pretty interesting because anywhere in our application, we have the link to the OneRecord data that is hosted on the servers I described before. If you follow the link, okay, it's not very beautiful, but you have the data of the airway bill. So let's see what I have for this airway bill and open OneTrack dashboard. Let's first describe what we can see on the screen. On the left, you have the list of the ULDs that are carrying your shipment. So here, only one. This is an AKE and this with this number from Air France. You also have the link, of course, to the data. Let's have a look at it. Okay, useless, but you can see that this is actually served by a OneRecord server from the airline. Of course, on the ULD, you have pieces. And here in this case, we have two pieces that are COVID-19 vaccines. And this is interesting because this should be kept between 2 and 8 degrees. Of course, you can also have some details about the pieces, but let's have a look at the other part of the application. On the top of the screen, you have a timeline here where you can see all the steps through which your shipment has gone and each checkpoint it has reached, let's say, with some information you can display about what happened and what was monitored at each checkpoint. On the middle of the screen, you have a very big map, but we will have a look at it a little bit later. On the right, you have real-time alerts that arrive in real time during transportation, and you can of course see the history as I am doing right now. Under the map, you have a line chart here displaying temperature, for example, that will appear in real time also at each checkpoint. You can also subscribe to notifications by mail, SMS, or WhatsApp, for example. And if you do that, you will receive in real time notifications you have on the right. On the top of the screen, you also have a very interesting button called Replay, because if you want to see again everything that happened, you can just replay your shipment and have a look at your pieces that are in this truck going to Paris here, CDG airport. When it will have reached CDG airport, you will see on the top the timeline refresh itself. and we will get notifications on the right. Let's wait until it has reached the airport. Okay, we also had an alert because temperature was not respected. Now our shipment is going to Amsterdam in a truck also. And let's wait until it has reached Amsterdam. At Amsterdam, it will be transferred from the plane to, from a truck to an aircraft, sorry, and will be carried out to JFK. Okay, where is my truck? It's coming. Stay tuned. Okay. Of course, data has been accelerated for the demo. Truck is not going so fast. So we can see that our shipment was transferred to this plane and that it is reaching JFK, and then it will be transferred and carried out to the consignee. Okay. This is what you would see in live during your transportation. So let's have a look at alerts we got during the transportation. We can highlight them in a chart and see that unfortunately our COVID vaccines reached 12 degrees, which is a catastrophe. And we could also have a look at what happened at each checkpoint, as I was saying before, and get some interesting information about external temperature coming from live weather data from another API. We have the temperature of our shipment at arrival at this checkpoint and at departure. This is interesting information to try to investigate what could have happened during this transfer. And what we wanted to build, but unfortunately we didn't have enough time during the hackathon, only 28 hours, was to have a look at what happens from here to here, so from the warehouse to the plane. So what is happening here? In which container it is stored, in which fridge it is stored, at which temperature, and how much time it takes to reach the aircraft and then start the departure. This is the information we try to build, but at least we have real-time information and real-time alerts. What could I add? Maybe have a look at the dark theme, of course, because if you don't like the light theme, you can also have a more darker display. And we could also have a look at the other data we have built about chicks, Benjamin presented before. So our chicks were coming from here to Egypt, to the consignee, and we have similar data with a similar tracking of temperature here and the list of our pieces. We can also have a look too, of course, just like before. So that's it for the demo. If you have any questions, we would be glad to answer. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to build such a pretty complex solution with real-time data simulated and also with some almost real data stored on several OneRecord servers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thomas and the French team, Benjamin. I think it's important to note in all this that this was actually done in 28 hours because the teams were not allowed to start coding before they actually presented their initial idea. So I think for both the team Air Jarvis and the one track that were presented today, it's an achievement. They did really good. And of course, there's always improvements that can be done. There's a few bugs here and there, but we expect that in 28 hours. But yeah, so with that, unfortunately, our last speaker had to pull out. There was an emergency meeting for him, so he wasn't able to connect and attend and share. But what we'll do is we'll see if we can integrate his presentation and share it still with you, because it's interesting to see about payments and one record and the next level that we're taking this. So we'll do that. I'm looking at the questions. So I encourage everybody on the call, if you have any questions for the teams, especially, to actually share it so that they can address it right now. But we have a couple ones, so let's go in no particular order. We got a question on what is the innovation engine. So as I mentioned previously, the innovation engine is basically, it's a non-cash prize that we did, and we're looking at working with startups and other companies to actually take their hackathon projects and take it to the next level. And it's mainly companies or people that have no cargo experience, and they don't have the network, they don't have the contacts to actually be able to talk to the real experts in the cargo field. And this is a way of, basically, it's like a matchmaking tool. And so it's interactions, and then we do basically some workshops with them. We put them in touch with other companies, then help them grow and actually come up with a real product. Another question is, when is the next hackathon planned? Well, that's a very good question. So for the moment, this is actually our third hackathon, and with the resource limitations, we've actually been only doing one a year. But we're seeing that there is a lot more momentum coming up. We're seeing that people are getting a lot more interested, and they actually want to do this more often. So we're looking at how we can do it. And actually to probably do up to 2 or 3 next year. See if we can do more to be able to, because there's always, if we do one event a year, there's always people that can't make it because of other commitments. So if we do multiple a year, at least there's more chance of people attending. And as well, what we're looking at, and I'm sure the teams probably won't like it too much, is to actually make it longer. So not just 28 hours, but actually make it a bit longer, maybe 3-4 days, we'll see. We're still playing, it's still very theoretical. But looking at seeing if we can actually increase that and then actually have even better solutions or more creative solutions. So, but the idea is to do a hybrid whereby we still do it online, because we've seen that it's the only way of being able to interact with a lot more people at a time, but to actually still do with a physical location for the people that do want to travel. But unfortunately, I don't know much more than that. So, but as soon as we will have more information, we'll let you guys know. And if you follow our website, iato.org/onerecord, you find everything there. And that's where the latest information is always posted. Another question, and I think this would actually go to the 2 teams that actually did the live demos. Hang on, a bit far the question, so I need to move my screen. And it's, do you have any ideas on turning, how many of your solutions, so here I'm talking to the OneTrack and Air Jarvis, are you going to turn into real products? Because we see that this is very theoretical and it's fun, and we proved that it's doable. But for the moment, it's a sandbox, right? It's playing around. But do you have any plans on actually making it into real product, going to companies or actually your own company and actually using it? Jarvis, do you want to go first?
Do you want to speak first there, Fred?
Sure. Okay, so from our perspective, we included some business logic that we thought made sense and defined the requirements. So next step would be engaging, different airlines to provide them a demo of this, identifying what are the key metrics that they want to track, identifying the logic of who needs to be in the loop, subscribing to that one record service. And then after defining those requirements, coming up with possibly a pilot, some sort of agreement so that they can try it out and see what works for them, and obviously address any bugs that may come along. I'll let Brooke maybe and Alexi take a crack at maybe answering some further questions related maybe to the technology.
Yeah, when it comes to the technology, you know, we have a product here that's a very viable product. It's a working use case that can be implemented into an airline or any sort of logistics scenario. So in terms of whether it goes to an actual solution, it's a very real possibility. We do have an interested party. We would engage in more if we could. But yeah, it's definitely a possibility in a very real scenario. Yeah.
Thank you. One track, French team.
Yeah, maybe I let Benjamin start if you have something to say. But
well, we don't know. It was fun doing it. We like what we did, but for the moment we don't know. We all have our jobs today, so we don't have so much time to improve it. And if we want to do something, we have to do a business case and see what we can get from such a tool. So from now on, we don't know, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. But at least we managed to build something on almost accurate data, almost real data. So we have proved that this is possible with one record. And the day we will have one record in the industry available, this kind of tool will be 100% feasible, and yeah, we could implement such a tool pretty easily. And so maybe we will think about it again and build a solution on our own. But today we just had fun together. Yeah.
And yeah, I think you both said the same comments where you had fun doing it, which I think is the most important thing out of these projects, is having fun and doing it. And then yeah, and then maybe in the future companies, and I'm sure they can approach you if they're interested in learning more about it and everything. So we got one more question, which was what's the advantage of an online hackathon compared to an on-site hackathon, and which one do you prefer? So I think the first part I can do, which the advantage of an online hackathon, it's well, it's a lot easier to organize. So yeah, and especially in these circumstances, everybody uses Microsoft Teams, so it's very easy to connect. Everybody can do it from their couch, from their office, from the beach, whatever. It makes it doable. But the downside of it is the interaction. For the people that have been to face-to-face hackathons, there's a lot of energy and a lot of fun and interaction with everybody, which here you're missing. Because from both of these live demos, I think none of you were literally next to somebody else. Everybody was in a physically different location, so you couldn't even go knock on your neighbor's door and work with them. So it's got advantages and disadvantages. And another one as well is the costs. So the costs of running an online hackathon are a lot lower, but then it allows us to put more prizes to actually make it more competitive, more interesting. So yes, which is also why we're looking at doing a hybrid next year, on doing a bit of both. So we take the advantages and take it from there. But the final part is, which one do you prefer? Like I said, for me, I would prefer the face-to-face ones, but I'd get a lot less gray hair with an online hackathon because they're easier to organize. But for the participants one, over to you. What would you prefer? Would you prefer to go stay online, or actually take a weekend out of your busy schedules and then hack away somewhere like Madrid or Geneva like we did before? Fred, you've been to all of them, so go for it.
Yeah, I have been to both. I've had the advantage of doing the online and the in-person. I will say the ideation phase in person is a lot more interactive, a lot more ideas being bounced back and forth. Whereas online, it's like we have to come up with an idea. How about this? So that interaction, I did miss in this style of online hackathon. But I think the development worked well, collaborating, because everybody was very focused on what each person was doing, because you're on your own and you're forced to not be a procrastinator. So in my opinion, I prefer the online, not the online, the in-person, but I do see the advantages of the online as well.
Thank you. Thomas?
Yeah, I also participated to both on-site and online hackathons. Maybe other people of the team too. I know that Alexi did, and maybe Benjamin too. So both have advantages. I prefer on-site personally because of people interaction and, as you said, the ideation phase is much more interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I don't have any more questions. So unless the speakers have any last words that they want to share, then I'd thank all of the speakers here for taking the time out of the busy schedules. Fred, so people don't know, he's actually in Vancouver, so it's very early for him. So thank you very much for actually waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to actually join this this webinar. And thanks to the sponsors, Christian from Riga Software, for actually making all of this possible, because without you, we wouldn't actually be here talking about this. And we look forward to actually welcoming everybody somewhere, sometime next year, to an in-person hackathon. So with that, I thank all of you, and look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.